Good evening. We are live in our broadcast with our certified ULA coaches once again this week. And this week we're talking about friends. Friends are one of the most important aspects of ULA to many of these coaches that you see in front of you. And they're going to tell us why they're so important to their ULA journey. So, first off, let's talk with Debbie Longoria. Debbie is actually committed to helping others find their ULA life. And her passion is in helping single moms, caregivers, and anyone who wants to live a life of more balance, less stress, and greater purpose. So let's find out why friends are an integral part of Debbie's story. Take it away, Debbie.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me on tonight. Friends, ULA friends. This was one I really wanted to jump in on because my journey with ULA, my all-in journey with ULA, started in January of 2018, and I had done a 14-day detox, ULA T detox. And I sent a little email to Dave to tell him that, hey, this detox worked great. I've dropped some weight, but now I want to detox my house. I want to detox everything. I want to, because I hit my healthy level of disgust. And so I was just ready to clean up everything and detox. And he inspired, somehow or another, he was inspired to do Facebook Live on friends and the 4 different types of friends that we have in our life. So I'm going to share those with you tonight because I think it's important to know kind of where you need to be or where your thought process should be. And you might want to think about in your circle of friends who these people are and where they may fall. First is you have that face-to-face friend, the person that you can talk to about anything, that they don't care, they won't judge you, they just let you talk your heart, your soul, and they are there. You know who they are. Then we have the shoulder-to-shoulder, the person that's going to go in the trenches, get down and dirty. And you may have friends that fit more than one of these. So, but I love the shoulder and shoulder because they're going to go through that stuff together in the trenches with you. Third one is in your face. They're going to go, Debbie, you're not supposed to be doing that. I'm holding you accountable. They do it from a place of love and they care about you. And they're basically not going to take any, what I will say, BS from you. They know when you're blowing smoke. And then the last one is that behind your face one, that toxic friend that is one way when they're face to face with you, but then as soon as you leave, and we all know we've all had them, some of us probably still do, and those are the friends we probably want to start getting out of that circle. And so I want to focus on the toxic friend because that was where my big story was. I didn't have this clarity until I started following ULA, and especially after that Facebook Live that Dave did. It's back in January of 2018, so if you want to look back, you can go find it. But I just felt that once he did this, that I realized that the people I needed to really look at and see who I valued and who valued me right back. Because it's easy, like they say, to love people. It's more difficult to get love back, but it works that same way in your friendship circle. A lot of us will do anything for somebody else, but who's that person that's going to reciprocate that? Who is going to be there? Who's going to be that person that no matter what, you can count on? So you have that mutual respect, that mutual love, and you just know that this person's got you. They've got you. But in this toxic situation, this actually, I kind of have to blame ULA for it because Troy was on a Facebook Live and the topic he was discussing hit really close to home with this particular friend. And I made a tiny little comment and I had no idea this person was watching it. And they said, we need to talk. They recognized themselves in the comment. And that was a conversation that needed to be started. And so I thank Troy for that Facebook Live because it initiated something that was probably 10, 12 years in the making. We needed to have this conversation. The conversation steered, I would say, a more toxic direction when you're in the middle of things because you're hurt. Years have been invested in this person. I had been friends with her for 20 years. And as the years have gone by, the actual I would say the results have changed a little bit, or how am I going to say this? I don't know. I had to own my part in it, not paying attention to how the friendship was developing or how it was actually happening. I did it with blinders on. So for me to have a healthy life moving forward in this relationship, even though it was toxic, I had to take responsibility for my part in it, not saying no when I needed to say no, and boundaries and setting clear boundaries for this. So I really thank the ULA framework for doing that, because we are no longer what I would call friends. Our families are intertwined tightly. So we see each other often, and we're still very cordial with each other. But through all the pain, and at some point, I think I felt like I was a victim. You know, how did I get used? I just chose not to see what was happening. You know, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. After that afterthought, what is it? Hindsight's 2020. Well, that happens in friendships too. So I felt like I needed to be right in 2018. And right now I just understand that we were both in a place where this was not a good fit. And good friends should always be a good fit. They should be a good fit. They should be that person that wants to see you succeed no matter what. They should be that person that will go into the trenches when you know things are ugly. And they'll be that person that will look at you and say, you know what? You're just amazing, just being you, with zero expectations in return. So that is really my friend story. I kind of like to say that, kind of be your own orange in ULA, be your own person. I mean, be the person, make yourself a priority, put yourself on that 3x5 card when you're doing your friends' goals, and make sure that you realize that you are designed by God for greatness and a purpose. And the more you believe that, the quality of the circle of friends that you will have will grow and continue to be that soft place to fall for the rest of your life. So that is my story about friendship. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you, Debbie. I'm sure that was emotional at the time, and it may still be emotional to some degree. So thank you for sharing that. Friendships can be awesome, and when they go a little sour, it's not so awesome, right? The sauce just doesn't taste the same. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Our second coach tonight is Angela Cardinal. She's actually been following ULA, Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy, since 2014. Wow. And she actually felt a pull to take the time and money to travel all the way from Minnesota to Lexington, Kentucky, to attend an ULA Palooza in 2016. And while driving deep into the ULA framework that weekend, she actually discovered the one thing holding back her life was actually, at the time, her best friend. Angela kind of determined that this was a toxic best friend. And through many talks and tears, Angela realized that she needed to forgive and release this friend from her life. And in doing so, she found greater peace. But she accepted a different job closer to home, actually became pregnant with her first child, and grew in her marriage, and has grown deep friendships with many other people. So she's moved on from that time, and we're going to hear about this story and about Angela right now. Take it away, Angela.
All right. Well, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having me. Like you said, I've been following ULA since about 2014. Read the book, loved the book, thought, wow, these guys just really like simplified life. And it was great. It was like someone just put to words and a framework what I needed. I had known about their ULA Paloozas, and I have always wanted to attend them in Vegas, but just financially, I wasn't able to swing it. And then I started seeing this advertisement of ULA Palooza in Lexington, and I actually reached out to Dr. Dave, and I was like, is this like what you guys do in Vegas? Because it was a much more affordable rate for me. And I wanted to make sure that it was a true ULA Palooza framework 2-day intensive course and not just like a speech that they're giving, because I've seen them speak lots of times, and found out that it was. So I talked to my husband about it, and I was like, I really feel the need to go to Lexington, Kentucky. And it didn't put a big strain on our finances, but I definitely didn't just like have the money to go. I decided to do it really cheap. I was going to drive 14 hours straight through, so I didn't have to stop for an extra hotel. I was going to pack my sandwiches and my beverages, so I didn't have to stop and eat fast food. And I took off and I went, and we made it work. And while we were there, I knew when we were working through the 10-week, what is now the 10-week framework. And I knew when we got to the topic of friends that I would really struggle. So I like removed myself from the little table that I was working at and went and stood kind of by myself. And while I was there and we were talking about it, they have us write down our 3 to 5 closest friends, the ones that we interact with, the ones who take up the most headspace. And then also next to them, we need to write down how they make us feel. So we'll go through name number 1. How does that person make you feel? And Dr. Troy says that your body has a physiological response to how these people and make you feel. And I got to the first name on my list and I broke down and cried, because I realized that my best friend, who was the maid of honor in my wedding, I was in her wedding. We had been super close for, I think, about 5 years at this time. Was my best friend. She was my in the trenches, ride or die. I could talk to her about anything. And I realized that I was having a really hard time with her because she was having an affair with her husband. And in the process of this all, did a lot of lying to me behind the back, didn't seem to realize that what she was doing was wrong. And I was just pulled along into all this drama, and I realized that it was really, really weighing me down a lot more than I had originally thought. And through this process, I realized that those were her choices, and I just had to, I couldn't, sorry, my little guy's coming in. I just had to forgive and let her go. And I ended up making this decision when I was in Lexington. And then on my drive home, I called her up when I was in Chicago, and I was like, you know what, I wish you the best. I hope you find happiness, but I can't let this be dragging down in my life. And I'm going to have to like release you as a friend. And I did so, and it was hard. But since then, so sorry, I have become really close with her now ex-husband, who was a really close friend of my husband and mine at the time. We've grown even closer together through this whole process. And I did the block, unfollow, delete, deleted her off social media because I didn't want that in the back of my mind. Like, oh, I wonder what she's up to. I wonder, because I didn't want to be pulled back into that and the way that it made me feel. I wanted to be free from that. And in doing so, a few months later, I accepted a job that was closer to home. Less than a year later, we had our first baby, and now we're expecting our third, and just things have been going. I have found deeper, meaningful friendships through other people who have found ULA, through other coaches, and have connected with a bunch of amazing men and women through the ULA network, and it's been great. So that's kind of my spiel.
Thank you, Angela. Another story that has a happy ending, but certainly had its beginnings in some sorrow and some hurt feelings, I'm sure. And we appreciate you sharing that with us tonight. I'm sure that wasn't easy. So thank you very much. Our next coach this evening is Vicki Washburn. Vicki's mission is actually to help women find the passion and the purpose that's been buried and silenced by the busyness of life, limiting beliefs, emotional traumas, and cellular memories. She actually guides her clients to release those emotional blocks, which keep them from thriving and from living their purpose and passion. So, in your coaching, Vicki, tell us about how friends are involved in that and why they're important.
Well, I will tell you, here's my little friend story. I am truly, truly blessed because I have, I don't know, probably somewhere between a half a dozen and a dozen really dear friends who have been friends for 25, 35, 45 years. These are people that I can call on for emotional support. Several of them I can call on to show up and do the dirty work if you're moving or digging a garden or pulling weeds or whatever it is. I mean, they are friends. And I came across this thing that was from my Facebook feed a year ago, and it said, "Friends come and go like the waves of the ocean, but true ones stay like an octopus on your face." And I have some octopus friends, let me tell you. And I'm really blessed with that. But I'm also very blessed because through my affiliation with Young Living, that has brought me just a wealth of friends. And part of my story that leads into that is my marriage broke up and I was devastated. And you know, my friends were kind of tired of hearing about it. And so I needed to start doing some healing and got introduced to oils, which led me to find Ula, but it also led me to find some of the most beautiful friends that I am just so blessed to have in my life. And what it taught me was, even in the darkest days of our life, when we can just barely hold our head up, God will send us people that we need in our life. And sometimes those people only stay for a short time. And sometimes those people stay for a lifetime. And I've got friends that have stayed a lifetime. And I've got friends that have come and then they have gone. And sometimes it's because they were a little toxic, and maybe I needed to learn a lesson from them and needed to learn the lesson of dealing with that type of toxicity or whatever that codependency was that we had with each other. So even those that I release, I just acknowledge that there was something that I got from that relationship. And so that's what I try to share with my clients is, you know, everything is either a lesson or a reward. And so sometimes those people are your lesson. And so you have to look at that and determine, is this somebody that I want to keep forever, you know, in my life? One of my very dearest friends, I have several, like I said, but my one friend, Kimberly, has been my friend for, well, since we were 21 and 23, and I'm 64 and she's 62. So a long time. And we may not talk to each other for a month, but the minute that we're together, it's like the other piece of my puzzle is there. I just feel complete when she is around, and we don't even have to talk. And I expect that she and I will probably walk all the days of our lives together, kind of like a spouse. I mean, she literally feels like my other half. And then I have some new friends that I'm not sure they're going to be around next month. And I think that's normal for all of us. You know, if you're growing and your life is becoming more balanced, you're going to see people move in and out of your life. And so I find those to be wonderful, beautiful surprises, because so far I've had more of the good friends and the beautiful friends that inspire me than the not so much. And even through ULA, the more I get to know the other coaches, there's definitely some alignments coming into play within our ULA Army that I see as becoming long-term, lifelong friends, or at least I hope, because they're beautiful souls, and my spirit is drawn to them. So I think for everybody, being connected is so important. I talk to a lot of people. I try to work, I kind of focus on women that are more over the 50, 55 age range. And it's really sad to me because I talk to so many that are so lonely because they just don't have that network of friends, and they, maybe they've lost their husband or they've gotten divorced later in life, and kids are all grown, and with the craziness that's gone on the last few months, some of them have lost their jobs they've had for 20, 30 years, and they really are struggling. And so I think it's just really important for us as humans to have a tight-knit group of friends that we can count on, that we know love us no matter what. The ones that'll smack us upside the head when we're doing something stupid and will still love us, the ones that'll say, I've got the shovel, where are we going to bury the body? Those kind of friends that are going to be with you no matter what. And so I think it's something that us as coaches need to inspire our clients to try to develop those relationships, because they really are so very important every day of our lives, and especially as people age, because there's kind of a tendency to be lonely, and that leads to a lot of other issues that are just hard to deal with, So that's my ULA Friends story. Like I said, I'm really so very blessed that I have a very large network of friends that have blessed me with their friendship for a very long time.
Thank you, Vicki. That is wonderful that you have that large support group. And I'm like you, I feel like being a coach with all the other 300 or so coaches that there are now. And as I have been, hosting these webinars we've been doing and getting to meet more people and hear their stories and just interact with more of you on a weekly basis, have found that friendships are definitely growing there. And I think that's definitely going to happen, that they're going to be very long term because of the like-mindedness and the positivity, maybe two things that are causing that. So that's a great point. And also, I'd like you to email me that list of friends who do dirty work. That would be great to have, if you don't mind.
Well, keep in mind, they're mostly over 60 women, but I'm
okay.
These women are powerhouses. I have two friends, and then my daughter and grandson help me, but I put in a raised garden bed that is 120 square feet by 24 inches deep. And two of my over 60 girlfriends, we're all over 60, we shoveled mulch into that garden bed in 98-degree heat for days. And I owe these girls so much.
That's a good team to have.
That is a good team to have.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing tonight. Appreciate it and getting to know you better. All right. Our next coach is Kathy Jones. Kathy's really passionate about helping hurting people, and especially people in crisis. She has actually been sober and clean for 35 years. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. She's been on staff for the last 12 years at a church on the pastoral care team, where she's experienced lay counseling, minister of the day, crisis calls, care ministry, mental health ministry, career coaching. She's been a leader of teenage girls. She's done support group work for people with anxiety and depression. And she tells her age here, which I won't share. She graduated from Rockbridge Seminary. So it wasn't when she was 18, okay? Later in life, she graduated from Rockbridge Seminary because she says you are never too old, and she wasn't. She loves to be and work with teens, young adults, single parents, and anyone that's in crisis. And she feels that the most valuable asset that she can offer is her love of people and flexibility, two excellent traits for a friend. So, Kathy, tell us all about your story.
Okay, hi. I'm so glad to be a part of this. You know, this is really wonderful. I met Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy in 2017 at a Young Living convention. First time I had ever heard of them. First time I went to hear them speak, and I was just like going, "Oh my gosh, who are these guys? Are they for real?" You know, it's just. I was just enthralled, and it was hitting in all the places, everything they talked about. Later in that convention, one of my friends had bought me a little surfboard to put goals on. And I found out that I was one of those that started crying when I had to write goals and dreams, because I didn't know how to do that. You know, almost like there's a part of me that says I'm not allowed to do that. Not anymore, but that's how it was. So I have, and then in 2017, I got a scholarship to go to the Ulapalooza that year. And that changed my life. You know, I would like to say that I was one of those that I started ULA and I did everything perfect and everything's gotten so wonderful, and it hasn't been that way because of me. I haven't done everything perfectly. I've started and stopped, although I have drank tea for the past 2 years or 3 years now. Love the tea. And this, talking about friends, ULA, both Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy, and listening to them have helped me so much. It's always been very easy for me to make friends. I'm like the little social butterfly out there, you know. And I have strong long-term relationships, but I've also discovered through the ULA guys in this framework that I don't have to have a lot of friends. That doesn't make me a good person. You know, I've always been so people-pleasing, you know, and if others think I'm okay, then I must really be okay. And, you know, that up until these last years, you know, it's like I've been working for a long time on myself, but it's all just coming together in these last few years. And so I have gotten rid of some friendships. I know some people have gotten rid of me. And at first it was like, I think she just dumped me, you know? And then I realized that I wasn't where she was at, and that's okay, you know? So I have developed I would say in these last 12 years, 12 to 15 years, some very strong friendships. But also I have 3 women that I went to junior high with all the way through high school, and we're still friends. Now, we haven't always been totally connected all these years, but I would say in the last 15 is when we were at a reunion and we're like, okay, we've just got to be together. And so they're like the friends that you sit down and have lunch with, you haven't seen them for 5 years, and all of a sudden it's like you can't stop talking. Both of you, you're just like this. And even I have found that not every friend has to believe everything you do. That as a friend, as your friendship goes longer, stronger, whatever that is that, because like, as you can tell, I mean, I wasn't always a Christian. I became a Christian in my 40s. And so I have a very good woman friend, and we're on different paths in that area. But we love each other, and we don't want to lose our history with each other, our friendship. And I know that she would die for me, I would die for her. That, and as I was going through seminary, she listened to me talk about what I was learning about Jesus, about all this stuff, even though that's not her thing. And that made me love her more. So, and then I would say, well, last month, I got notified, women from when I graduated in high school, in my grade, they put together a prayer group that meets once a month, and they invited me to join last month. And there's some women I haven't seen since high school. And so I'm participating in that. And it's, I don't know if anybody else had some weird high school experiences and stuff, but all of a sudden it brought up everything from high school. It's just so funny. I was so anxious and so nervous. And you know, it's like, these women are amazing, and not all of us were Christians in high school. And it's just amazing to see how we've all dealt with life, and we're there for each other. And I just want to say, my best friend is my 25-year-old daughter. I'm her best friend. She's my best friend. Now, we do have friends, and we have best friends, but she's my encourager. She's I can tell anything to. I'm her, she can tell anything to, and I'm her encourager. And out of the circles, her friends have become my sweet friends. I feel like I have more kids, but I love them so much, you know, and they love me. And so a couple weeks ago, something happened, and I had a test, and something wasn't right in the health department. And my work also, I have found that they're not just coworkers. My team, the team I'm on, there's 12 of us. We're not just coworkers. It's like we're family. And we treat each other like that. You know, we're there for each other. Well, I had to do a test on Friday. I had to do something today, a biopsy. And it was like, I'm going to cry, okay? It was like everybody was reaching out to me. I had 2 different coworkers drive me both different days. You know, because I'm strong, I can do it myself. And what I realized is I wasn't, because I was scared to death. So they're praying for me in their groups. They're sending me text messages all throughout. Yesterday, I broke down, just totally. I was so scared, broke down. And I'm like, I'm probably going to have to call Kevin and just tell him I can't do this tomorrow night. I'm glad I didn't. And that's another thing Ula has taught me, is to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep going forward. So last night I had a breakdown. I fell apart in Ralph's. I'm crying all the way home, just sobbing about everything because, California, we're so closed, where haven't been to work since March. I work from home. You're not supposed to touch people. You have to wear a mask everywhere you go. It's just, and I'm a touchy-feely kind of person. And I'm just telling God everything I don't like anymore. I'm done. I am just done. And all of a sudden, my phone, I get a text, and it's my boss on the team, and she texts me and says, "Hey, can you call me? I would love to pray for you right now." And I'm like, "Oh no, I can't let her see me like this, right?" And then I'm like, no, I need to just do that. And so I told her yes. We called each other, and she says, I told her what was going on, and she said, it's pretty interesting because I was really going to call you tomorrow morning before your appointment and pray for you, but God was nudging me tonight to get a hold of you. And so it's important to have community. So I live by myself. My daughter's married. My 25-year-old's married to this wonderful man. And my kid, they have lives, and I do too. So, it's just, anyways, I just want to say that I wouldn't be where I'm at without God. I wouldn't be where I'm at without the ULA guys and their framework and all this, and just being willing to change. And I don't mind telling you how old I am. I was 60 when I graduated, and I'm 63 right now. And I never went to college, so I was so afraid of starting this seminary because I was so afraid I was going to find out I'm stupid. And I found out I wasn't. So miracles can happen, and I don't know what else to say, but I'm so thankful. And I'm thankful for this coaching community and all of you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Vicki told us about good friends that help us do the dirty jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And you just told us about really good friends that help us do the dirty jobs inside, right? That help take care of us. So we appreciate you sharing that emotional story, and we hope and pray that everything works out for the best for you, and we'll continue to be doing that. So thanks for sharing that with us. Our next coach is Gina Van Bodegun, and she truly believes that the struggles that we have in life are not meant to be wasted. Each step that we take, there are lessons to be learned and then shared with other people. So she wants to help us find balance in our lives, help us reconnect with our dreams, and crush our goals. So Gina, tell us about your story and why are friends so important to do all those things?
All right. So thanks for having me on. I know this is the second time you reached out to me. The first time we didn't, the timing didn't work, but I had said to you that friends was really important to me and I wanted to talk about friends. So you made it work for me. So I appreciate that so much. So the two things that I want to talk about when it comes to friends is adult friendships, especially in like the social media world. And then second is how our friendships are modeled and how our children are then having tips based off of what they see from us. So the first thing is adult friendships are hard, and most of us would agree with that. So when I was younger, I had a group of 8 friends. It started out like 5th and 6th grade. As we went through high school, we got more groups, more girls involved. So there was about 8 of us. And we did everything together. We went to the mall, we talked about boys, we picked each other up after we got our driver's license, everything. And then, you know, we grew up and went to college and had families and got married and kids and life and all of that stuff. So we don't get to see those friends as much as we used to. So I've tried to put in a few things that I've learned about this group of friends because I'm still friends with these girls. So one of the biggest things is you get out of a friendship what you put into it. So I very much value my friendships. And I have multiple groups of friendships. I have the girls that I just talked about. I have like my work friends that I've worked with for years that are very close with me. I have group of people from church. You know, I do life with them. They pray for me. We pray for each other. So I have a lot of different groups of friends, and I value all of those. But with these group of 8, you know, my biggest thing is on your birthday, I call you. That's huge for me. And on my birthday, they all know they call me. We don't text Gina, they call me. So that's something it's kind of a joke, but that's just something that I love. So I put into them and they put it right back into me. But I've also had to learn that not all people are like me. So I love my friendships so much, and I will put things off. I've left my family, you know, for a night to go be with friends when they need me. And sometimes I expected that same thing in return, and I've often got my feelings hurt. So as I've grown up, I've learned that not all people love the same way. And just because they don't come to me at my beck and call when I need them right that second, they value me and they love me and they would be there no matter what. Something else I've learned is not everyone is going to get along. In my group of 8 girls, there's often, you know, arguments and fights. Our 8 is actually down to 6 now. There's 6 of us left. But I've always been the one that has tried to mend friendships. Let's all get together. And I've learned that I am not responsible for mending friendships. And I've also learned that I can love those people, but sometimes I just need to love them separately. I don't need to bring us all together all the time. And that's okay. And then lastly, I've learned that when friendship ends, it makes room for more friendships and those friendships to blossom. So in my group of 8, a year ago, one of us left that group. And that was the one person that I was probably closest with in that group. So through that was really hard. But another girl that was in, you know, one of my friends, we became really close and we kind of mourned that friendship together. So, you know, we had been friends for over 20 years. And I've learned so much about her just within the last year. She's learned so much about me. I've learned a lot about myself. So we've been there through that. So that's been really, really cool. So something I think is funny is the social media thing. You know, we have so many friends on social media. And just recently, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me saying, I've got so much anxiety and I don't know, you know, what's going on. And I was watching our master coach Avonlee's training that we had done back in July, and it was talking about friendship. And she was talking about it's the natural process of friendships fading in and out. And with social media, we don't have that anymore. So the natural way is in school, we keep 2 or 3 friends, and then everyone just kind of goes their own way. And through work, we keep 1 or 2 friends, and then everyone kind of goes away. In neighborhoods, same thing. Every little group that we're in, we keep 1 or 2, and everyone kind of just fades away. Everyone serves their purpose. But in the social media world, we have them as friends all the time. So we're seeing everything they're doing. We're comparing ourselves to them constantly. And we're finding out that the things that no longer serve us are now becoming toxic in our lives. So when people are reaching out to me and saying, everything is, giving me anxiety and I can't be on Facebook anymore. And I just tell them the power of unfollow, unfriend, and delete. And you choose what you're seeing every day. So it's okay to do that. It's okay to unfollow those people. And I have taken full advantage of that because I choose to, just like Dr. Dave says, I choose to see the good in the world. I choose to see that most people are loving and most people want really good things for themselves, their family, their friends, everything. So I choose to see that. So the second thing I want to talk about is modeling friendship for our children. So a year ago when my friendship broke up, my daughter saw that. And she saw how hurt I was. She heard some of the things that were said. She saw that I felt that I wasn't good enough. And I was constantly trying to, be the best friend I could be. And I just always felt like I wasn't enough. And she saw that. And so when that friendship ended, I was very hurt. And so recently, my daughter has gone through something similar, and she's 12. So she had a fallout with a friend, things were said, and I'm looking at, my daughter's phone of these text messages, and I'm like, how does a 12-year-old write like this? Oh my gosh. And, kind of attacking my daughter. And my daughter wanted nothing to do with it. She said, I'm done. I'm not going to be friends with her. And I just thought that was so brave. And I kept saying, well, if you want to be, and she said, Mom, I don't want to be friends with her. Well, now school's starting back up and they're seeing each other on the computer, and that girl's reaching back out to her and sending her messages and asking her to be, FaceTime calls. So she's asking me what she wants, what she should do. And, her biggest thing is, I don't want to be mean and I don't want to be disrespectful, but I don't want to be friends with that. She doesn't want to be in a toxic relationship. And I just thought that was so huge for a 12-year-old to see that and to acknowledge that, because in my friendship, I held on to a toxic friend for so long because of the years that we had been friends. And I constantly tried to improve that relationship. And when I finally was able to let it go, I really felt a lot of relief. And so for her to acknowledge that at 12 years old and be able to let go of that and be at peace with that, still be cordial with her, I think that's just speak volumes of her. So I was so proud of her. So I just like to, when it comes to friendship, I like to look at myself, how I'm modeling it to my friends, and how I'm modeling it to my two daughters. Just by the way that I treat others, the way that others treat me, and then also just setting up those boundaries and knowing it's okay to step away. It's okay to unfollow people. You don't have to be liked by everybody. You don't have to like everybody. It's okay. So that's kind of my take on friendship. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gina. Wow, you brought some great energy tonight. Thank you for sharing with us and telling those personal stories about your friendships in the past and in the present. Our final speaker tonight is Jazzy Will, and she brings with her not only the certified ULA coach certificate that she got from ULA, but also certifications from Tony Robbins and John Maxwell's agencies. So she's been certified and certified and certified. She is an exuberant passion for helping others achieve their goals and successes. And she also actually has 21 years of experience in the education profession as a leader in the mental wellness arena, and is also a gut health advocate and specialist. Jazzy's main mission in life is to inspire others and do what they believe they can't do. And to always play full out. So Jazzy sounds like a great friend to have. Jazzy, tell us your story.
Well, first, guys, I want to say thank you so much for having me tonight. Oh my, such an inspiration. And, I sat and I've listened to everybody's stories, and I thought how powerful this is. And the reason that I say that is because I kind of am thinking along the same lines as what Gina believes in. And I was taught to believe growing up, or I was taught growing up, that, we need to take the very best from people and pull that from them and take that with you when you go. And that's so powerful. And like listening to all of these stories tonight is such a powerful way for people to get to hear that, you know, everybody's story is different and everybody's story has power and everybody's story speaks words. And so I think that's really important. And so thank you. You all have inspired me tonight. I know just before we went live, I shared with the group, I said, you know, this is probably one of the hardest areas for me to talk about or speak about. And, you know, the thing about it was when I was actually working my way through the ULA framework, I was kind of taken back by the fact that this was one of the areas that I really fell short in. And I wasn't sure why. So I had to really stop and think about this. And when I sat down and looked at it, one of the things, there were two things that popped up at me. One of the things was the fact that I didn't realize the amount of toxic relationships I had in my life. So for me, it was a matter of really sitting down and doing like the ULA guys say, you know, unfollow, unfriend, delete, block. Let's just take care of business. And so once I was able to really sit down and do that and take a look at some of that, that really helped me a lot in this process. The other thing that I found was I'm a huge people pleaser. And I think with Vicky that talked about it, I think maybe. Anyway, somebody was saying tonight that, you know, they're a people pleaser. And when you really get kind of wound up in that framework, you know, you find yourself holding yourself accountable to what you think other people are expecting of you. And what happens is you fall short of that. And so, you know, you find yourself wanting to have all of these relationships, you know, you're working really hard to be in these relationships and you're just not quite making the cut. So that was one of the areas I had to sit down and really look at. And for me, it came down to quality over quantity. And I really started looking at the people that I wanted in my life. And those are the people like the ULA Army that I want, that's going to challenge me to bring my very best to the table. So in turn, I went out and I started searching for those people. And that's really where I put my focus now as far as friends are concerned.
That's excellent advice, Jazzy. Thank you for sharing that. I know that I have certainly found maybe some friends that I had in the past that I thought were being supportive of me are nowhere near as close as supportive as you coaches are and other people which are more like-minded and looking for positivity and optimism, as well as people that have read this book, ULA, Find Balance in an Unbalanced World, written by Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy. So that's what we're all certified in, is the framework this book talks about. And friendships are an integral part of the 7 different areas of life, and bringing all those areas into balance and allowing you to grow more as a person and to really find your true passion and purpose in life. Because we really are designed by God for greatness, aren't we? And we need friends that are going to support us as we are striving to reach those goals and those dreams that we've always wanted to reach. So thank you, coaches, for sharing tonight. Many of your personal stories really hit home to my heart. I'm sure they did for others who are watching, and we certainly appreciate you sharing with us. In the down below this video, after the video is finished, we will add some links so that you can actually reach out to any of these coaches, as well as many other coaches across the United States and even the world, in Canada and Australia and many other places in the world where you'll find coaches. And so you can find them there and you can reach out to them there and get their contact information. And I'll also put a link to be able to order this book in below the video. So We hope that all of you have enjoyed our broadcast, and we're going to sign off tonight as we always do, because good friends always want to be on the same page, right, Debbie? So everyone, if you'll unmute yourself, we're going to sign off with our tagline phrase. We're all going to say it perfectly together. And so we're going to do 1, 2, 3.
Of course.
So 1, 2, 3. Be grateful.
Be grateful.
Grateful.
Have faith.
Grateful.
Have faith.
And go get
Have
it.
faith.
Ooh, alive.
Go get
Go
your
get your
Thanks,
life.
everyone.
Well,
Thanks,
Have a great
everybody.
evening.
pleasure, everyone.